Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. We're really glad that you decided to be in our audience today, whether you're watching the program live or if you're listening to it later just as an audio podcast, or if you're watching it live on YouTube or even on our Indie Book Source page. Let me see. Paul Hollis says, good evening, Rob and Joan. Good evening, Paul. Evening, we're so glad that you're here. George Dismuke says, have no fear, we are here.
Oh, George.
That's good. Marjorie Deering says, back again. Hello, all. Hello, Marjorie.
Marjorie, how you doing?
Wouldn't be a show if you guys weren't here.
That's
We're
right.
Missing Joe Conjal.
Yeah, he's got the grandkids tonight. So.
Oh, he's got his grandkids.
May or may not be popping in and out. We're not sure. We'll find out anyway.
Grandkids win over podcasts every time.
Every time. Mm-hmm. So how was your week then?
I think you know my week is been.
I guess I know. Never mind. I'm glad you've had a good week.
Oh, look at who's here. Lonnie and Becca.
Hey, Becca.
Hi.
Lonnie, how are you doing?
Love you guys. We're so glad that you're here. Look at what I've got right here beside me.
Me?
Becca. Yeah, besides you.
Oh, besides me?
Do-do-do.
Kawaii.
Yeah, Island of Love.
By Becca.
Becca L. Jones.
Okay. Want to remind everybody every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, go to www.wdjy.com. Or if you're in the Atlanta area, 99.1 FM Atlanta, and you can hear our shows there. Do you have to
look at who else is here. It's Tom Nelly.
Tom Nelly.
I'm not sure if it's just his empty chair or if it's really
It might just
Tom.
be the chair. I'm not sure.
We've known Tom for years.
Good to see you, Tom. He has
his own great YouTube channel. Hi, Tom. Good to see you.
Yes.
We used to be on podcasts together back in the day.
Back in the day, long time ago.
Becca says, yay, awesome, about her book.
Okay. Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, always. Episode rewind right here where you're watching right now. You can tune in and catch our show. Also, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we're going to have it's not just the chair.
Not just the chair.
So the chairman is here. The chairman. Yeah. Okay. Fantasy author Cheryl Carpinello will be on. Her thing is magic and unicorns. Yay. Right? Probably dragons too, I imagine.
I don't know. Some people don't like dragons.
Right. Book releases. Right now we've got of course, the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles Book 22, Girlfriend Retreat by Linda Pirtle. That's out. So you want to check that out. And all the other books in the series as well. And then there's a brand new one just came out today by Dr. Maureen Howard called The Dayang, Dayang. And the cover looks really cool. It's got like a clipper ship in the ocean with waves tossing all over it and a UFO over the top of it, beaming down or beaming up or something.
Well, that'll always get my attention.
Yeah, looks pretty interesting.
UFOs.
So,
Paul Rushworth Brown says, hi from Sydney. Hello, Paul.
Hello, down under.
We just did an interview with Paul. Turned out really good. He did a good job.
Okay. Shall we?
I mean, he interviewed us for a change. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird.
We were the
because
interviewees.
we were on the other end of the spectrum. There.
I liked it.
Right. And let's see, what am I going to do here?
I don't
go
know.
Here, and I want to bring up this, and we'll talk about this. San Leon's book signing blowout. Saturday, April 27th, 2024, of course, noon until 4 p.m. at the Pier 6 Seafood Restaurant, San Leon, Texas. They're still needing, if you're in the south, if you're an indie author in the southeastern portion of Texas, please get a hold of George Dismukes. At your earliest convenience. They have space, I think, for another 15 authors, actually, on it. So it's a mega book signing with present, let's see here. Each author must provide their own tent, table, and chairs. If you don't have a tent, let George know and arrangements can be made. He's asking for a $25 donation from each author, which will be used for advertising to promote the event. So he's really winding this thing up. To sign up or ask questions, email George Dismukes at Mayan Art International, INTL, at yahoo.com. That's MAYANARTINTL at yahoo.com. Or you can call him if you're local there. 281 area code 229-0775. That's George Dismukes. And he's hoping to make this an annual event for everybody.
And it's going to be fun. I wish we could be there.
I wish we could be too.
Okay. So, we've got a lot of comments. Goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Paul Rushworth Brown says, hello.
Hello.
Tom Nally said, wait a sec, Maureen Howard, some call those name Maureen Mo. So is she Mo Howard? I don't know if she goes by Mo or not. That's really funny because that's in the book that we just wrote, Tom, where one of the characters is named Maureen and her husband calls her Mo and she doesn't like it. That came from my youth. Joy Shelton York says, hi, Rob and Joan.
Joy.
Hi, Rob. You can see Joy tomorrow. She'll be on Haunted Campfire.
Yeah.
With all the rest
That's
of
the
it.
other thing I didn't have down.
Well, it's going to be tomorrow night, and we're talking about Irish myths and legends and ghosts and castles and all that stuff.
That's Haunted
Marjorie
Campfire
Deering
Tales.
said, I enjoyed your interview very much. Thank you, Marjorie. That was fun, wasn't it?
It was fun.
Paul Rushworth Brown said, except for the Aussie internet. Well, you did a good job of editing.
Yeah.
But yes, it was. And Lonnie and Becca say they can't wait for the book signing April 27th. Joy Shelton York says she's going to be here tomorrow night. Yes, I'm sure that you are. And I'm sure she has something prepared. And George, we already gave out your phone.
Is that the right number? I mean,
281-229-0775. Yep. That's what we have.
That's a good number. Okay.
Joy's visiting her son. Oh, you're going to be
visiting. Oh, you're going to be in Texas?
Oh, well, if you want to go
cool.
You're going to the book signing, Joy?
Yeah, to the author signing.
That's
awesome.
He's going to the author signing. Oh,
that's great. You're going to love Pier 6.
Joy, now I really wish that we were going. So many people we really like are going to be there. Lonnie said, I wish you could be here too. Me too.
Oh, boy. I feel left out.
Paul says those kangaroos have to pedal faster to keep the internet going.
Yes, they do, or hop faster.
Oh, my gosh. Joy and Lonnie and Becca and George and maybe Paul. I think Paul might be going. Bill Nelson.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
we're all going to be there. Hey, listen, we've got
that's all the time we have for tonight, folks. No, we're not.
We've got an amazing couple. Some of you probably remember them from the last time that they were on. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them because they've had quite the life. Let me tell you, they both were professional artists. They were both professional actors before they both got into psychology and found their way together, which is fascinating in itself. But let's see. Jim, I know, was in Rockford Files, Quincy, St. Elsewhere, And Judith was on Star Trek in the original season. I remember when she was on Star Trek, she was one of the nurses. She was also on Wild Wild West and I Dream of Jeanie, as well as over 80 national TV commercials. Together, they have over 70 years experience coaching in psychology. They are a psychology team. That's what they do now. And they've been very successful on that too. Their latest book, Overcoming the Fear of Being Fabulous, was the winner for the nonfiction in the 2023 San Francisco Book Fest. And Jim's recent novel, Second Life, because the first one is not yet finished, has been submitted for the 2023 Pulitzer Prize in fiction. That's a fiction book. Okay. And they've also been on over 3,000 television and radio shows, including Oprah, The View, 48 Hours, MSNBC, CNN, and Canada AM.
So,
and now they're on Meet the Author.
I know. The peak of their career. Hi, guys.
Hello, dude. Hello, Rob, Joe. Hello.
How are things in California?
A little gray and foggy,
And cold.
But we're delighted to be with you two and all the people that you have on your audience calling in.
I know all of our wonderful people in our audience. I'm telling you what, this is like, this is such a cushy deal that we have going here. We get to meet fabulous people, both in our audience and on our show. And we're just really blessed, aren't we?
Right. Overcoming the Fear of Being Fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is their book.
Yeah.
So
let me put that banner up, actually. So we overcame the fear of being fabulous.
Because we have a fabulous thing going on. Great.
They overcame the fear of being fabulous.
Yeah.
That's no joke either, because
really
a lot of you that have watched the show for a long time know that we used to be in the ministry, and people really do have a fear of being successful, and it keeps them back from being
all
successful.
Bound up, yeah.
Right.
Here you go. 33 keys to creating your new life by leaving your old stories behind. That old baggage, it can drag you down, can it?
Absolutely. And the fun thing about this book is that there are 33 different specific ways that people can leave their old habits behind and open themselves to new ones. Just for instance, I'm asking everybody that's on, listening, when you get something that you've ordered in a cafe or a coffee shop or a restaurant that does not fit with what you ordered. For instance, you ordered pie with no ice cream and it comes with ice cream. Do you send it back? Or do you just swallow tight, push the ice cream aside and eat your pie and you're unhappy?
I send it back.
Good
for you.
Politely, you can do it politely.
You don't have to defend yourself. You send it back. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But so many people don't. And that's just one way that they stay in league with how they were raised. Don't create a fuss. Don't act up. Don't get loud.
Don't make any waves.
Don't make any waves. Exactly. And what we're saying is make waves. Take care of yourself. Send things back if they didn't arrive the way you want them.
Another example is people have a very difficult time accepting compliments. Simple compliments. If I compliment someone and they say, "Oh, that was nothing." No, don't do that. Don't throw away what you have been given. The compliment is a gift to you. Take it. And then with regard to the stories, we tell ourselves things like, "Oh, I'm shy. I always was shy." As you keep saying that, you become it. So when the compliment comes in and you bat it away, you feel comfortable because that's how you're defining yourself.
And that's how you were raised.
It's a very difficult thing too, because, well, you guys know I used to have red curly hair, and now I have white curly hair. And I get a lot of compliments on my hair.
All the time. Out of the blue.
Yeah. Walking through the store or whatever. It was very difficult for me to learn to say, thank you very much. That was kind of you to say.
Yes.
And if you don't say that, number one, you're living in a different place than you really should be living in. And number two, you're also saying to them what you said wasn't good or important or nice, or, you need to lift them up too by appreciating.
You are short-circuiting the connection. They want to make a connection. You just shut the door. And where they have nowhere to go. They just stand awkwardly.
I love this. Listen to this. You guys are going to love this.
You took a poll, and here's the answer.
Here's the answer. Joy Shelton York sends it back. Nichols, she sends it back.
Good.
George Dismuke says, well, what flavor was the ice cream?
Oyster flavor.
Joe Conjal, I send it back and ask them to take it off my bill.
And that's even better.
Wonderful.
George used to have hair. He just doesn't remember what color. I have pictures, George. It's the only way I know. It's been a long time. But yes, this is the way we were raised in, to be self-effacing. And I think, and we talk about this on the show a lot, it is very difficult for authors, especially new authors, to promote themselves. But you have to promote yourself. You love the book that you just wrote, or you wouldn't have written it. You're really happy with it. Share that with the world. Look at what I did. It's wonderful.
And exactly. And the world will not know about it if you are not talking about it on podcasts or radio shows or, the local magazine, whatever it might be. People need to know about it.
That's right.
If Einstein had been shy, E equals MC squared would be the scribble on his notebook under the bed. No way, the world would not have been changed.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't shy.
No, he was not.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point. I think it's one a lot of us can relate to, because I do think that is something you have to overcome, is by being self-effacing. And I'm not saying to be an arrogant son of a gun. You can be a lovely person who appreciates compliments and understands your self-worth on this planet,
And has a really good connection with other people who want to praise you.
Hey, Joe, look at all that we are saying. It's okay to accept a compliment. You don't have to be airing, blah, blah. Look at all of that work just to say thank you. Instead of just saying thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. It really was work for me.
It's work.
There were a lot of tapes that played in my head that I had to take those tapes out and put in different tapes.
We were told it was pride. Don't be prideful. That's not good. That's bad.
Right.
Bad
That's right.
And the longer those tapes play, it becomes your identity.
Yes.
That's really hard to break.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Right.
And it's hard.
You feel like you have to belong to your family and stay true to how they raised you. And what we're saying is, no, in lots of ways, it's time to leave home. It's time to grow up and be your own person. And that's why we say overcoming the fear of being fabulous lets you, in these 33 different ways, move out beyond how you were raised. Doesn't mean that you stop speaking to your family at all. You just give yourself the authority to be different from them.
Well, without giving away all of the things in the book, because you don't want to do that because you want people to buy the book, I understand. Do you have another little nugget you would like to share?
Besides that one? Sending stuff back and not being able to say thank you when you're complimented, which is not a joke, it's a real deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another one is wherever you may be working, how long has it been since you had a promotion? And if it's been quite a while, it's time to talk to your manager and ask, what are they looking for from you in order to promote you? It's not that you're expecting them to promote you tomorrow, but you need to ask them what they are expecting from you.
Concretely, not just, keep. A lot of time, a manager might say, keep doing what you're doing. You may not have any idea what you're doing. You need to ask for concrete report back.
Right. So you are really asking your manager to be concrete, and you're alerting that manager that you expect to be promoted in due time.
It's something that you want.
And then you have to be willing, though, to do the work.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
I was working at a place, I got a promotion after I was working there for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Young women came to me and said, what did you do? How did you get that promotion? I've been here 8 years, And I said to them, and I knew what I needed to do. So I said, do you do this? No, they don't pay me enough. Do you do that? No, they don't pay me enough. Do you do this? No, they're not paying me enough. I said, well, you accepted the job that you're in now, at the pay that you're at. So if you want to earn more than that and you want to get promoted, you have to do these things that I told you. I said, because I'm promoted and I'm still doing those things,
Right.
And that's,
we hear the phrase, take responsibility for what you do.
Yes.
That's very glib. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
How does one take responsibility? First of all, you have to have this stuff, everyone. You have to have an objective, a goal, you work toward it, and you stay true to yourself. You let people know what you're doing and what you want and what you expect from them. Generally, they will give it to you. If you don't ask for it, they won't give it to you.
For example, that job that I'm talking about, I did that job. I exceeded what they expected me to do. I was the head of a department, and my manager, the general manager, came to me and said, how are you doing? Are you happy and stuff? And I said, well, actually, no, I don't want to be doing this next year. And he said, what do you want to be doing? So I told him.
Right, exactly.
And he said, okay.
Let's take our break.
Okay, we've got to take a break. And I know there's comments.
So
and George, I'll ask your question first as soon as we get back.
we'll catch up here, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. Nobody go away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ground to cover.
Little commercial.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested, or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye, Baby, Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 faces of the Jaguar, the Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
For all of you that are just listening to that audio podcast, that was Enigma Tracer by Brakefield and Berkey.
And George Dismuke says he remembers you from Star Trek. Judith, what was it like working with William Shatner?
It was actually great fun. And in fact,
There she is.
And there's Bill Shatner.
She's in blue.
Yes. And he's staring at me in his little green outfit.
Like he did. He fell in love with all the women at one time or another.
And he thought I was funny. We had to rehearse walking into the elevator. I can't remember what they called the elevator, but we had to rehearse it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And all of a sudden he yells out to the director, "Joe, she's funny."
Now, in line with what we've just been talking about overcoming the fear, which is something Judith did not do in that moment.
I did not, at the end of the day, go to Joe and say, "Remember, Bill thinks I'm funny. Get me back here." I didn't go to Bill and say, "Thank you. This has been such fun. You think I'm funny. Get me back here." I didn't call my agent and say,
or the casting director.
Or the casting director. I could have used that moment for all four of them to say, "I want to work here. Get me back here." I didn't do it. I didn't know to do it, but I pass it along to people all the time of ask, ask, ask.
You know, when we don't do the asking or we reject the opportunity, when I was in St. Louis at a theater called the Loretta Hilton Repertory Theater, which is a local regional theater, I was asked by the people in St. Louis, the society of folks in St. Louis, if I would be the artistic director of the theater. I said no. But what I then did, I made a noble story about my no. Well, I haven't read enough plays, I don't know enough actors. I made all this stuff up to make myself feel right about saying no. I just said no. Had I said yes, I would have, there were plenty of opportunity to learn what to do and people to connect to make the contacts. I said no, it was too much. It was too much.
Because we were raised to think we were less than.
Right.
We all, people in our generation especially, I think we did a better job with our kids. They think they're fabulous. They think they can walk on water. Because we tell them that all the time, Yeah,
and they do. They move forward.
They do. Yeah.
Are they good swimmers?
They are.
Yeah.
They're very good swimmers.
They're walking on water instead.
Yeah.
Joe Condrell said, "Do well in the job you have to get the job you want." Yeah, and do more in the job that you have than you need to do to get the job that you want.
Right.
Marjorie Deering says, "Plus, you had those beautiful legs, Judith."
And that is true.
Thank you.
Wasn't she beautiful? And I remember that episode.
I remember that scene, yeah.
I do too. George Dismuke said, "I worked with Leonard Nimoy on Gunsmoke. He was a cool guy." He was, wasn't he? He always had his little poodle. He did. He loved his poodle. So.
What a wonderful device you have. We can see the messages that they come in. It's so, it feels really good to be connected with your audience.
Doesn't it? Isn't it really great? I love it.
And they care enough to be there and respond.
I know.
And they're all really great people.
They are.
Every one of them. We love them all.
We know all of these people, and they're all wonderful. After 3 years, you get to know them.
Yeah,
we know their hardships. We know their successes.
We've known
we
even
know
longer than that.
Yep, much longer than that. Some we've known for maybe 14 years now.
Wow, fantastic.
12, 14.
This brings me to a question that I wanted to ask you guys. And we get asked this all the time because we write together. How do you guys work together as authors? Do you split up totally, or how do you do it?
Well, with Jim's novel, Second Life, because the first one is not yet finished, which is a reincarnational romance, there it is. The couple meet first back in 1505 during the Inquisition. And then they meet again in 2005 in upstate New York. Jim did all the writing. I did all the copy editing. So that's how we wrote together with Jim's book, and why he has given me second credit, because my suggestions in doing the copy editing was, you need a couple more sentences here, you need another paragraph here, and I probably read the book 20 times and I was never, ever bored. So I want to just say to anybody listening who loves fiction, this is a wonderful, entrancing book.
Is this your first fiction?
It looks fabulous. It really does, and it sounds fabulous. So,
is this your first
Eternal
fiction
Lovers? I like that.
No, it's my fifth. That one is my fourth. The fifth one will be coming out probably next year.
Okay, I thought the other ones were more nonfiction, weren't they?
I have three. That is. I call that. That's it.
Well, the trilogy of fiction: Worship of Hollow Gods, Ambition to Belong, and When Angels Die. Those are
autobiographical fiction.
Okay, all right. I knew they were about you, basically.
Yeah, right.
And how you grew up, but you added to that.
Oh, exactly. With probably half are fact. In fact, we now know it's called faction. And the rest is all fiction that Jim made up. But it starts out when Jim is 9 in inner city Detroit, which is where he grew up. And then Ambition to Belong, and that's Worship of Hollow Gods. And the Hollow Gods are family, alcohol, and religion. And then the second book, Ambition to Belong, takes place when Jim is 14 and 15 and in high school. And then When Angels Die, he started his acting career and is in New York City. Well, actually, you're not in New York City. You're
I'm St. Louis.
In St. Louis. So it's those three are also wonderful readings.
And I want to say, I'm a really good writer. The reading is a pleasure to read. I also am poetic. So this is not entirely, kind of poetic, prose poetry. I want to be very careful with that. It's not formally poetry. It's the prose is poetic.
I don't like poetry, and I love Jim's writing.
Okay.
Well, it's a way of saying that there is a lot of romance in what he writes.
Good.
Yeah.
I also write strong women. I love strong women because I married one. She taught me what they're all about.
That's right. Strong women are the best.
They are the best.
Like you are too, madam.
Thank you. And
thank you. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, did I? Just thank you.
Yay! It's working.
Say, oh no, I'm not. I know I am. I know who I am.
Well, I'm not sure.
Now, Rob.
Oh, I know.
No,
and I've raised 5 fabulous women and a fabulous son, but 5 strong women.
Yeah.
And
they're all able to stand on their
own.
own.
Youngest granddaughter, believe me, you don't want to mess with her.
Good. Good.
She's great. She knows her boundaries. She's like, yeah, I don't want you to touch me. Good.
Yes, exactly.
So when you wrote Overcoming the Fear of Being Fabulous, now those you wrote together, the 33 keys, how did you do that? I know you've been coaching together for a long time, so you must have your own language and way of working together,
Right. And so the 33 keys were initially from our podcast, back when we were doing our own podcast. So those were the scripts, and then we just edited, both of us just reworked, and then we have a gal in Australia that did the copy editing. So that's where this book came from. We have had the phrase overcoming the fear of being fabulous for the last 20 years. Really, when we met on a blind date, we talked about how we'd both been professional actors and had the fear of being fabulous. So we didn't go forward. We didn't push our agents. We didn't go to our agents and say, get me a running role on a TV series. We didn't know to do any of that. And so this fear of being fabulous has been with us ever since actually our first blind date. And we've been talking about what kind of a book should we write about it. And finally, when we did the podcast scripts, it was like, well, this is really practical. This is a way to help people have manageable, doable things to help them overcome the fear of being fabulous, rather than just writing, a long treatise about this, that, and so forth, and psychological. That's sort of boring. This is very doable.
Pamela Nichols wants to ask you, Jim, is it difficult as a man to write the female point of view? And I know
I don't find it.
Point of view, so.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I know that Pamela writes the male point of view and she does it well, but she has very strong women. Pamela writes books that, it's like in your face. Here it is. This is what it's about.
Yeah.
Deal with it. So anyway, go ahead. Is it difficult for you to write the female point of view?
No, for two reasons. One, I really love women.
Yeah.
I think women I would love, this seems to sound a little weird. The female body is so gorgeous. I wouldn't mind having one, living in. What's it like to live inside that body? Also, because I am poetic, I am more soft. I don't write soft women. I write women who are intelligent and feisty and are willing to stand their ground. So, and it's not difficult for me. My writing of women is in honor of women.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes.
Yeah, I would say that Jim doesn't have any trouble writing women's voice.
Yeah, that's good. And it's funny because we just finished writing our next book that's going to come out in April. And I wrote, and Rob wrote certain parts and I wrote other parts, and then we'd come together and talk about them and rework them and write them together. But I wrote these two male ghosts, and I had the best time. And I don't feel like I had trouble writing from a male's point of view. I think I presented them for who they are, and
exactly,
and who they would be if they'd been real people. And to me, ghosts are real people. So
people without.
Joe, I don't write them as women. I write them as characters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are who they are.
Yeah.
Because they were women, they turn out to be strong women.
Mm-hmm.
Really strong women. I really love that. And people have complimented me on that the women are really a pleasure to read because they're real.
Yeah. Yeah. Pamela says the story leads. It does. It does. Pamela.
It does.
Yep.
Respect your story.
Yep. Because you will find writer's block real quick if you're not going the way it should go.
Right.
Exactly.
You'll be like,
So as far as your publishing is concerned, do you guys do it all yourself, or do you farm out some of it to other people? Or
Well,
what?
she said they did use a line editor from Australia.
Right.
Right.
For the pot. Oh, no, for the book, right?
Yes,
For the book.
For
right.
the book.
Oh, for the book. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise you self-publish. Indie
Yes.
publish, we like
Right.
to say. Yeah, we do too.
And on the books, whichever of our names come first in the listing, that's the writer. The second is the editor.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
we were published initially by major publishers, St. Martin's Press, Health Communications Inc., World Library, and we saw that it boiled down to us doing the publicity anyway. I mean,
That's-
so what if they?
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's the part that sells the books so that people can read them to find out that they're fabulous.
Right.
And so when we got to book number 6, I think it was like What Really Killed Whitney Houston was the first self-published book. And we said, let's just do it ourselves. There's no point in giving another percentage to some publisher for them to do nothing. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
George Dismuke says, okay, Judith and James, when you write fiction, do your characters come to life and go where they want to go?
Yes, I start listening to my characters, and they will tell me who they are and what they're going to do. That's what makes it fun. Otherwise, it's just me. So over and over again, they come to life. That's the fun of it.
And if they come to life for you, they will come to life for the reader. If
Right.
they're
Yes,
not
yes.
real to you, how could they be real to the reader?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, they have to have a mind of their own. They have to have their own ambitions and things. So people will read it. They'll see that that's real,
Right.
and they'll be engaged,
In
I think
Second Life, my favorite character is an archbishop in southern France. He is a real bastard. He is really a bad guy. I loved him. I want to say that it's different in the book. The very first book I wrote as fiction, the
hollow
Worship of Hollow
worship
Gods.
of Hollow God.
gods.
Oh,
Okay.
going up to-
There was a character in that book by the name of Julie, Julie. He was fashioned after my Uncle John, who also was a real bastard. He was so mean to me. I really hated him. I thought my father and Uncle John were of the same feather. I found out in writing the book, they both were discounted, both unappreciated. I fell in love with my father writing that book, and I gave full kudos to my Uncle John for being the source of that material. He was a villain to begin with. He became a saint by the end of the book.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
That's really
That
good.
is cool.
Yeah.
We need to break for our last break
Okay.
here. Nobody go away.
We
and-
don't want to.
No, we don't want to. When we come back, we'll tell everybody where to reach you, and we'll talk some more.
Yes.
We got a long ways to go yet.
Thank you.
Stand by, everybody. Don't go away.
An unforgettable mystery thriller that will transport you back to 17th century England. Introducing Dream of Courage, facing fear head on, your passport to 17th century mystery, mayhem, and murder. Follow Robert and John Rushworth through Leeds' bustling Briggate district, where danger lurks in the shadows, embodied by the thief-taker Jacob Wilding. You will laugh, you will cry, and be in awe of the twists and turns. Its meticulous attention to character development, emotional nuance, and the unfolding of the story's layers promise a compelling and emotionally charged journey. The U.S. National Times said, "Modern writers usually don't know what it was like to live in the past, but Rushworth Brown does this with great skill." Uncover the secrets of Smythe, the enigmatic tavern keeper who sends Robert to the Haven, to the pirate Captain Girlington. Will he outwit danger in the nick of time?
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
And we're back.
That's really fun. Your commercials are fun.
I know, aren't they
good?
fun? See, fabulous writers, all of them. George Dismukes says, my characters keep getting into the fridge and drinking up all of my beer.
In our day, Joan, we would just like my character getting to my cigar and smoke all my weed.
So you'd smoke all your weed, yeah.
There you go.
Those were the days.
Weren't they ever?
And now it's legal where you live.
Yeah,
True.
it is.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to
Before we come to an end, I would like to share with you this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes. And you guys, that's Jim on the Rockford Files.
Exactly.
Isn't he so handsome?
Right.
I was a government agent. Rockford, I don't remember the exact details, but Rockford had to be brought in. That's me showing him my badge, and I take him in a car and take him to the airport, put it on plane, off he goes. That was my first role. I remember it. I was mortified when I saw it. Mortified, absolutely mortified. I had never seen myself perform. I was a stage actor.
How was it working with James Garner? Was he as nice as everyone says?
He is a dream. He's fun. He's generous. He's not a narcissist, at least not an abusive narcissist. He shares the spotlight. He brought me in. We worked together. He was wonderful.
And they brought Jim back to do two more episodes as well. But again, Jim did not have the wherewithal to go forward.
I came from upper lower class,
upper lower class, inner city
Polish Catholic Eastern Catholicism. I never understood a career. I didn't have a career. I didn't know you go do these things. I did the job in hand and did the job in hand well enough for them to bring me back without auditioning. I didn't know that was a real kudo for me. I couldn't use that. I didn't know, so I didn't. So it went from job to job. That was it. Finally, I got bored with the idea, not bored, frustrated and angry with the idea of having to audition. I didn't like it. It was boring. I never learned how to audition. I didn't know what they wanted. When I was in St. Louis at the Regional Theater, I directed shows. I can tell you, when the actors would come in and audition for roles, I didn't know what the hell I wanted. I knew I would see it when I saw it. That's what they did to me. I didn't know that was what was going on. So when I left the audition, I thought I failed again. Because I didn't give them what they were looking for. I didn't know to give them what they were looking for. I didn't know what they were looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Joe Conchal says the Rockford Files was a great show. He loved it.
It was wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
Rocky, his dad, he was great. I loved him. I loved that character. You know, it's funny. Our upbringing was very similar, you know, and I think it was the mindset of the World War II people who, you know, the guys that had gone off to war and the women stayed at home, and you brought your kids up to be, you know, seen and not heard and
obedient.
Yeah, and obedient about everything. They couldn't have thought in their head, you know, and
everything in the house was supposed to look perfect from the outside.
Yes. All the time. You had to look perfect. The house had to look perfect. And I remember that I was passed ahead 2 times. I skipped 2 grades. So that when it's not as exciting as it sounds. I skipped over kindergarten because I knew a lion should be brown and had 4 legs and paws. And I mean, so now I put her in 1st grade. And then when I was supposed to be in 3rd grade, they put me in a split class where 1/2 was 3rd grade and 1/2 was 4th grade. Well, this is how smart I was. I did both the work of the 3rd graders and the 4th graders. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. So I passed the 3rd and the 4th.
Nobody stopped you.
Nobody stopped me. So they skipped me ahead again. So I went into the 5th grade. So at this point, I should have been in 3rd grade and I was in the 5th grade. So by the time I got to be a senior in high school, I was 16. And not equipped emotionally to be a senior in high school, I'll tell you that much. But I loved acting, and I was I'd been in the drama team for the whole 4 years, and we had a really good director who always had talent scouts come to the plays.
Wow.
And in my senior year, I was in a play, and she brought a contract to my parents for me to be with Betsy Palmer and Joey, Brown? The guy with the big mouth?
Joey Brown.
Joey
Brown.
They were going to do Circle, the theater in the Circle on Cape Cod that summer, and she offered me a contract for the whole summer, and my parents wouldn't do it.
Oh, dear.
However, I think that was probably the best thing ever, because I certainly didn't have any idea how to be fabulous any more than you did. And I was only 16. I don't know as if that would have been a great environment for me to be in, you know?
It's interesting to look back on those kinds of issues and wonder if it would have helped you grow up or held you back. Because the same thing happened. I grew up in Los Angeles and I was on Teen Queen for the Day. Remember, there was Queen for a Day? Well, once a year they had teen queens and teen models, and a talent scout from 20th Century Fox was in the audience and approached my mother and me and said, "We want to talk to you and your daughter about bringing her under contract to 20th Century." And my parents said no. Similar, I was probably 16. And I looked back,
really?
And I look back on it and I think, would it have been better if they'd said yes? I don't know. But
yeah. Oh, Joyce Shelton York says plastic on the living room sofa. Oh, you didn't go in the living room. That was for people to look at.
Right.
And Joe Conjal said you were the female Sheldon Cooper. Yeah, sure. Kindergarten and 4th grade. That was me, Sheldon Cooper. But yeah, that's so crazy that happened to you, because when my parents would tell that story to my children, because they were going to instruct them on how obedient I was and that therefore my children should be that obedient, you know, they said, and your mother decided she shouldn't do that. And I would tell my kids, that's a lie right there.
Before we say goodnight to our Atlanta people, I wanted them to be able to hear how to get a hold of you.
Yes.
Your website is www.judithandjim.com. That's JUDITHANDJIM.com. And your links to all your social media and everything are all
on
there.
Right.
And if they want to email you, they can email you at judith@judithandjim.com.
Okay. And it's the @ sign, you guys, not the AT. Okay.
Right. It's judith@judithandjim.com. Yeah.
The @ sign. Yeah. Yep. For those people that are listening that aren't watching.
And speaking of the people
listening
in Atlanta tonight, thank you so much for joining us. Want everyone else to sit tight, but we want to thank you people in North Georgia for tuning in. Please join us again next week, same time, same channel.
Good night, Atlanta.
Good night, Atlanta.
But stay tuned, everybody else.
Okay.
Yes. Well, the show isn't over yet, guys, but this has been so, mind opening. I want to say it's amazing. I think I've often thought that it was a generational thing, the way that we were raised. And while I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, this is definitely it was a generational thing. There was a way that we were raised. And then I don't know about you or anything like that, but then we raised our kids telling them that they were wonderful, that they were smart, that they were loved, that they could do anything they wanted to do. I remember one of my, two of our daughters really liked horses and would go to horse camp. And they loved all of it. They liked mucking out the stable. They liked, cleaning out their hooves. They loved it. And one of them had aspirations to be in the Olympics, equestrian Olympics. And her teacher told her that she could never do that.
Why?
And to not even consider it. I won't say why I think why.
Oh, okay.
But I was so angry. I went to her and I said, don't you ever tell my children that they can't do something. They can do whatever they want. And she said, well, do you realize how much money that costs? And I said, look, it doesn't matter. If somebody wants to do something, they will find a way to do it. Right. You don't tell a child you can't do that. You're a teacher. You're supposed to be lifting them up and saying you can do it.
Yeah.
You want to be president of the United States? Go ahead. Go for it. Don't say it's impossible to do.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not sure my kids were real happy with the way I was.
This is the only issue we had to confront.
Yeah, I confronted. Well, like you said, do I send the pie back? Yeah, I send the pie back. Yeah, yes, we would. We would go and talk to the teachers, saying, this is not going to happen. Yeah. Don't like that stuff. It sounds like both of your mothers were being protective of you. Other mothers overlook that for the glitz of show business or for the potential to make money from their child's earnings. Yes, no? I would assume.
Well, first, I would like to say I will agree with the second half of that my parents were being overprotected. My parents, excuse my language, were scared as hell. They were afraid of the world. They didn't want me to go out in the world where I will get beat up. They were frightened. They also were they were ignorant. I don't say that pejoratively. They just did not have the stuff. They couldn't give me what they didn't have. They gave me what they had. They gave it lovingly, but it wasn't much. I thought it was everything. I fell well short of what could have been. No, they were not being protected. No. I don't agree with the first part of that at all.
But I think Jones and my parents, in terms of these, acting offerings, I think were being protective and felt like we were not old enough. We were not ready to
not
be
equipped.
Separated from our friends and our neighborhood that way. But I was so out of touch with the rest of my school people. When I was 12, I looked 18. I won a beauty contest when I was 12. I looked 18. And I continued to look old forever.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not
right?
anymore. Thank goodness. So I do think Jones and my parents were being protective. They didn't understand.
Paul Hollis said, my mother always told me I could be anyone I want to be. It turns out identity theft is against the law.
Good one, Paul.
Joe Conjo said, I have to bow out. Time to read books with the grandkids. Enjoyed the show. Thanks all.
Thanks
and
for
have fun
coming.
with your Joe. George Dismuke says, it's been a great show. You need another hour for this one. I know. Well, we can still keep going. We don't have to. Let me see, what time is it? Yeah, we don't have to sign off yet.
Not quite yet.
No.
Right.
I really wanted to talk to you about the being fabulous because I think there are a lot of things that we say to ourselves or think to ourselves that we have to rewrite. Because as you were saying earlier, Jim, if we don't do that, that's who we become.
Mhm.
It becomes part of our identity and who we are, in the core, So I think one thing that people say is they'll make a mistake. You'll drop something or, whatever. You'll say, well, that was stupid. I've had to rewrite that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You can't keep telling yourself that you're stupid when
Right,
you
exactly.
make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes,
Right.
Oh, it slipped out of my hand. Okay, that's all right. That is what happens. So then you clean it up. It's kind of like that with everything. You know what I mean? That's like allegorical.
Once you speak something out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
You
speak it in here. That's who you're identifying as. And guess what? That's who you show people that you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to show people that.
And you practice that. And then you becoming more and more deeply. The more you practice, the better you get at it. No, I'm shy. I've always been shy. I'm really good at saying that. I'm not speaking about myself. I'm using that as an example. I have not been shy. Not that kind of shy. But I was uneducated. I'll give you that. I was ignorant. I'll give you that. But I was out there trying to get something to happen. I had to get the hell out of Detroit. It was awful.
And you did get out of
I
Detroit.
did get out. I was the first person in a family of immediate family of 125 people. I was the first one that got out. My uncle Ed was the first one to go to college. He went to UM. He became a chemical engineer and got a job somewhere in northern Ohio, which effectively walking distance. Had a nervous breakdown, had to come home. That's what the worship of hollow gods is all about. Families are hollow god and
alcohol.
Alcohol, damn sure hollow
And the
god.
church.
And the church. He could not get out of that. He had a nervous breakdown. And his then wife and my parents drove to Ohio, brought him back. He was a mess.
But you ended up at the neighborhood playhouse with Sandy Meisner as the teacher
in New York.
In New York City. Jim did that coming from Detroit, which is really remarkable.
Yeah, it's very remarkable. And probably without, not any financial backing. You had to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I worked, the financial backing I had was a summer job at Chevrolet Drop Forge. A drop forge is a huge stamping machine. You heat metal bars, you put it in the die, bang, bang. You have, for example, you have piston rod or some other kind of thing. I worked with what was called a heater man. I worked at the furnace. You had to wear a mask. The furnace got about 2,000 degrees hot. You reach in with a pair of tongs, pull out the bar, put it on the die, bang, bang. And then you have to work for production. You got to get so much done. I love that job. It got me to New York. It wasn't New York where, well, actually St. Louis thing fell apart.
Well, but in New York at the neighborhood playhouse, Diane Keaton was in Jim's class.
Right.
Oh, I love her.
Isn't she fun?
Yes, I love the way she dresses. I love her whole attitude. I really like her.
She has been that way her whole life.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot. Yeah, she's funny, and she's a strong woman.
She is.
You know,
Very independent. She's not afraid to be fabulous. You know, she really has said, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to be, period. Good for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she didn't have to dress like everybody else, you know. She dressed the way she wanted to. What was that movie she was in, Annie? That was basically the way that she dressed when she
right.
When she wasn't in a movie, and she brought it into the movie. And it was fabulous. I loved it. I mean, I didn't dress like that was my thing, but I loved it on her. You know what I mean?
I saw the picture you showed me of you and your red hair. You were really hot. You were you really were something.
That's true.
He thought so.
And madam, did you think so?
I didn't. No.
Right.
Okay.
I really didn't. I remember I have a sister that is 10 years younger than I am. And she said to me one time, and this was recently, within like the last 10 years, she said, well, you know, Mom always said that everywhere she went with you, people would turn their heads and watch as you walk by. And I said, Mom said that about me? And she said, yes. And I said, well, that's not true. And my sister said, yeah, it is true. You know, that does happen. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, well, you remember when that happened. I was like, that is just.
I just did it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I said to Judith, she's gorgeous.
And I said to you, yeah, that's right. We were. So I have.
Not to discount you. You two were a handsome hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, don't do that, Rob. Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My dad used to call him Prince Charming because he had long hair. Or Prince Valiant, because remember Prince Valiant in the comics?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
I was a comic character.
Oh, you just did it again, Rob.
I know.
Be careful of that.
I like comic characters. What's the matter?
Oh, yes, that's your justification.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's been a great show, guys.
Thank you very
It's
much.
been great fun to be with the two of you.
Like
and
we said,
everybody listening.
Like we said when we spoke with you last, we really enjoy being with you.
We really enjoy being with you too. We did the last time that you did the show. We did this time.
Thank
I
you.
do think that you're fabulous, and I'm glad you got over that fear. I think people have a lot of other fears besides being fabulous. The fear of rejection.
Right.
That's why you probably, I mean, we're all going to be rejected. That is a fact of life. And when you would go for, what do you call it? When you go to try out for a show?
Audition.
When you would audition and didn't get the part, I mean, that was a rejection. And that was a real thing. It really happened to you. And I think it's really hard for us to learn how to use that as like a stepping stone for the next time that we do something. You know what I mean? Instead of letting it.
Joan, I
weigh us
want to
down.
leave you and our audience with the idea that we're never rejected.
Oh, okay.
We're simply not the right fit for the job or for, you know, in the dating arena or for somebody who's looking for a partner. We're not actually being rejected. We're simply not the right fit.
Well, that's
Right,
the
that
much
makes
healthier
sense,
way
yeah.
to look at it.
That's a better way to look at it. Yeah.
It is.
Yes, yes. And I think
I
it's
have a grandson I have to talk to about that.
And I think it's the correct, accurate way to look at it.
It doesn't hurt any less to look at it that way. It still hurts, but it's more accurate to look at that. So
It's
you don't
healthy.
create.
Yeah, it's a healthier way to look at it.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
It's healthier for your mindset
yeah, exactly.
and how you see things and how you view
And
things.
how you approach it the next
Well,
time. You know.
Right.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And that's true of anything, not just acting. I mean,
Exactly.
any
Yes.
job or anything that, you know,
Exactly.
I mean, you know, for example, what would you say to a young man who asks out a young woman and she says no?
She clearly is telling you that you're not the right fit for what she's looking for.
And what I would say, ask her why. Find out. Open yourself to why. You may not like what you hear. You may not even accept what you hear. You won't walk away in the dark.
And you may not get the truth either.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah, it's going to take a very confident, strong person to be able to tell you the truth.
Right.
That's difficult, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're getting down to that kind of nitty gritty, that's not something a lot of people can do. I've
Right.
had people say
Especially
to
young
me,
people.
yeah, especially young people. I've had people say to me my whole life, well, it's different for you because you're very confrontational. And I'd always say, it isn't different for me than it is for you. None of us likes to be confrontation. None of us likes to hear those kind of things, you know, or
Right.
talk about those kind of things. It's just, it's not healthy if we don't, you know, and say, I didn't want pie with ice cream. I wanted pie without ice cream.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And there are a lot of occasions in life where you have to confront people and say, I don't like the way that you're treating me. You know,
Well,
I don't appreciate
I
it.
think when you go to send something back at the restaurant, I think a lot of people, you hear the horror stories of what they do in the kitchen if you send something back.
Spit in your food.
So some people are nervous about that, you know.
Right.
So I think you have to be diplomatic in the way you say that's not what I ordered,
Right.
and not be offensive to the person who brought
Right.
it to you because it's not their fault.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think that has to be a factor in there too, not just sending it back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
It's how you send it back is just as important. But
Thank you too for this hour. It has been really, really pleasant and fun.
Yes.
You
it
are
has
very
been
welcome.
for us.
You guys are doing a good service
Thank
to
you.
those who hear you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Well, it's been wonderful having you on too.
Yes.
And thank you for giving me a different way to look at that.
You're
Good.
welcome.
Good, good, good.
That's good. That's really good. Something else I need to practice now.
There you go.
Ah, all right.
I'll
And
get
the
it.
two of you are such a pleasure.
Put it on a Post-it and put it on your bathroom mirror so you can see it every day, knowing what you have to practice.
Marjorie Deering said, all four of you are fabulous. Yes, I mean it. And you're welcome. And Marjorie,
Thank you. Yay, thank you.
Thanks,
you are fabulous too,
Yes.
Marjorie. We know you, and you are a fabulous woman and a great writer. She writes thrillers. She writes really good thrillers and horrors that are fabulous.
Good for
Yeah.
you, Marjorie.
Yeah. With love stories in there too. So
Right.
all the good things. You know? Yeah, this has been great. I'm really glad that you both decided to go into psychology after being actors. You can, Marjorie says, put that up. Thank you. You're welcome. We're all going to be saying thank you,
Thank you.
and you're welcome on this show from
Doctor,
now on.
doctor.
Just remember, Judith and I are each of your shoulder. If you don't do it, you will feel guilty.
You're going back to your Detroit roots now. Very educational program. Thanks, Joan, Rob,
Thank
Judith.
you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for hanging in there, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Paul is an amazing writer.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a field agent for the NSA.
I think.
And he was all over Europe and in Ireland during the time of the Troubles, and has written books, the Hollow Man series, following everything that he did, and the MI6 agent that was his partner. And he really is a brilliant writer, and he just started his own small publishing house. So to help, because he wanted to help people, because he figured out how to do it. When we first started writing, Paul was one of the first people that we met, and he was such a help to us, because we would see what he was doing online, and we'd say, how did you do that? You know, that was so great. We loved that. How did you do that? And he would help us along the way.
Yeah.
So
it's
he's still
what it's
doing
all
it.
about.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes. Good for you, Paul.
I know. Yeah, he's a good guy.
All right. Well, we're going to move you over to the side now. Thank you so much for joining us. Hold on to your chair there so you don't fall over.
And book number 5, let us know so you can be on again.
Yep. Let us know when it comes out. And want to remind everybody next week, 7:00 right here. It's for fantasy author Cheryl Carpinello about magic and unicorns. That's going to be a totally different trip.
I'll like it. Paul says thank you all.
Thank you.
You're
all.
welcome,
Thank you, Paul. All right. Anything else you would like to chat about?
I don't think so. Anyone that wants to go to San Leon, please get in touch with
George Dismukes.
George. I can't believe Joy's going. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
I know.
All right. Well, I guess until next time.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen G's welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB